Hello everyone, welcome back to She Tried It. New year, new make. I am so excited for this one. Today we'll be working on the Waffle-icious cardigan by MJ's Off the Hook Designs. I don't know how many of you are familiar with her, but she does have a YouTube channel and she shows tutorials on her YouTube channel for like one size of her patterns, and then she sells the pattern in multiple sizes. I've been wanting to make something from her for a while, and last year when I made the campsite waffle, I can't remember the exact name, but this pattern over here, when I made that pattern, that I got for free by the way, but when I made that pattern, I told you I was gonna crop it, and then I was like, okay guys, I'm gonna make another cardigan, but I'm not gonna crop it. So believe it or not, I am not cropping today's cardigan. I wanna do something that I don't normally do, and I wanna kind of read through the specs with you, then I'll take you along the journey of making this pattern. So I just bought it. It does retail, I guess you could call it, as for $8 on Ravelry. However, when I purchased it, it came out to $6.80, I believe. She was having an end of year sale, so try to catch a sale if you can, because that was a pretty good deal. Like I said, this is by MJ's Off the Hook. I purchased the pattern on Ravelry, but I'm sure she sells it other places, and if she does, I'll leave it in the description box below. This is a crochet pattern. She released in April 2022, so it's fairly new to me. The yarn she used was a light fingering weight yarn. However, that's not what I'm gonna be using. This is the really exciting news. The yarn I'm gonna be using is by my best friend, Two of Wands. I'm using Color Theory yarn in the color Ivory, so I'm really excited for this. Today's video is sponsored by Lion Brand. Thank you so much to Lion Brand for sponsoring this video. I mentioned in my last video that I have 4 videos this year that will be sponsored by Lion Brand, and this is the first one, so I'm very, very excited for this make. It has to be. Perfect might be too much, but I really want it to be perfect. Back to the pattern. She gives the gauge, which is in waffle stitch, and she used a hook size of 3.75. I don't think I could do that with this yarn because the yarn she used is a light fingering, and I'm definitely using this yarn, which is a medium weight yarn. My gauge is not gonna match at all. What I'm thinking is that if I were to make this pattern using the same yarn as her, I'd probably make like a medium or a large, but since I'm using a larger yarn and definitely a larger hook, I'm either gonna use a 5.5 or a 6mm, but I'll figure all that out in a little bit. But since I'm changing the size of the stitches, making them bigger, I'm going to follow the pattern of a smaller size. I hope that makes sense. So I'm like increasing the size of the stitch, but decreasing the size that I'm making. So I'll probably make an extra small in terms of the stitches on the pattern, but the stitches are gonna be bigger, so it's gonna fit me the same. Hopefully that makes sense. In terms of the sizes, she used she has an extra small to 5X in this pattern, which I think is pretty size inclusive if you ask me. It's a PDF pattern, no return, same old, same old. In terms of the difficulty, she classifies this as intermediate, which is interesting. I've actually never done waffle stitch. Am I lying? No, I've never done waffle stitch before in crochet, so I'm really excited to do that. Let's see what she says about the pattern. The Waffle-icious cardigan is a unique construction worked in one piece flat. That's interesting. The waffle stitch pattern is a simple stitch technique that gives this pattern loads of texture and squishiness. The cardigan is worked in fingering weight so that it's light without too much bulk. It's the perfect cozy cardigan for any season. I love the description. She also says, you're welcome to sell the finished product of this design. Please reference MJ's Off the Hook Designs. You must use your own photos to sell your work. All my images are copyright protected and cannot be used to sell your items. That's one thing that you need to pay attention to for designers if you do make stuff to sell it from other designers, which is an interesting business. If you do that, you need to make sure that your designer says that you can sell the completed make, because some designers actually don't want you selling what you made. Even though you bought their pattern, they don't want you selling what you made with their pattern, which is their pattern. They have every right to do that. Anyways, I want to try to practice what I said and get started on making a little bit of a gauge swatch so I can know if I need to make a small or an extra small. So let me do a quick gauge swatch and I'll be right back.
While I'm working on the gauge swatch, now seems as good a time as any to tell you a little bit more about today's designer. Today's make is from Michelle of MJ's Off the Hook. She's a creative and very popular resource for accessory, garment, and home decor crochet patterns. She's best known for her fun, whimsical blanket patterns, many of which have gone viral. Michelle is passionate about teaching others to crochet through her YouTube channel and includes video tutorials with her designs. Michelle resides on a farm in Ontario, Canada with her husband and 4 children. She enjoys spending time with family and friends and camping and hiking, but most evenings involve watching Netflix and crocheting. One thing I personally enjoy about Michelle and her content is how well not only she designs, but also styles her designs. Her pieces already look amazing, but the way she styles it really takes it to the next level. If you'd like to get your hands on one of Michelle's patterns, they can be found on Ravelry, Etsy, Ribbler, Lovecrafts, and We Crochet. And of course, all of those platforms as well as her social media will be linked in the description box below.
I've officially finished my gauge swatch, and I must say, this is a very promising pattern. I don't want to hype it up too much, but it looks really cute. So to start off, this is the right side, which that looks really, really good. And this is using a 6mm hook, and this is the wrong side of the pattern. The wrong side doesn't even look that bad either. But the right side, this is what's giving the waffle stitch view. Now let's talk about modifications, because I'm definitely gonna make some. Not because the pattern's like bad or anything, but they're just some things that I just naturally do. So to start off, the pattern starts where you do the ribbing along the bottom of the cardigan. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna start kind of like I did with my gauge swatch, which I think I started down here. I'm gonna start with a foundation double crochet and do that whole thing and make the whole cardigan. At the very end of it, I'm gonna do knit ribbing, because knit ribbing is my favorite type of ribbing. And if I'm using a 6mm hook, I'll probably use like a 5mm needle to do the ribbing along the edge, but we'll talk about that when I get to it. But the ribbing that I do on this sweater will be knit, not crochet. I'm just not a fan of crochet ribbing, which we've talked about many videos before. The other modification I'm gonna make is the length. So like I said before, I'm not cropping it, but if anything, I might make it longer. I'm gonna go ahead and once I get more into the pattern, I'm gonna do a community tab post and see if I should make it to my thigh, kind of like MJ has hers, or if I should make it to my knee, which maybe hers is to her knee, I don't know. If I should make it to my knee, or if I should make it to my shin, or if I should make it to my ankle. I'm willing to make this super, super long because I think this will be so cute, like a super long cardigan. And I might be crazy and might hate this, and it's white, so it's gonna get dirty, but I think I'd love it. Other modifications, I might modify the sleeves. Just looking at MJ's pictures, her sleeves have a bit looser feel, and I want a more fitted feel, so I might modify how many rows the sleeves has. And what else am I gonna do? I think that's pretty much it. This is a great pattern. I'm really excited to get started with it. I have about 8 or 9 balls of yarn so far, but like I said, this video is sponsored by Lion Brand, and they did gift me the yarn, so if I need more, I will contact them and ask them for more, but the mail is crazy. So as soon as I figure out how much I need, I will contact them immediately, so I'm not waiting around too long and this video can get up on time. But with that in mind, I'm gonna get started doing my foundation double crochet for, I'm gonna try an extra small. I'm gonna do the foundation double crochet for an extra small. If you are looking at the pattern, because I'm not gonna say it because you need to buy the pattern, but if you're looking at the pattern, because I'm skipping the ribbing, it would be the rows. If you're looking under the row 3 to whatever, that will be how many rows you need. So I'm gonna start with extra small, and if I need to up it because it's not wide enough, I'll go up to the number of rows you need for a small. Even though I'm following the rows, this is going to be the number of stitches of foundation double crochet as I do. How many times am I gonna say that? Okay, so I'm gonna get started, and I'll come back when I see if I do a small or an extra small, and then after that, I'm gonna hop into this pattern. I feel like this is gonna go by so fast. I should have timed this, but this flew by. Once I get a few rows in, I'm gonna go ahead and make that community tab post so y'all can get to voting, because it's not gonna take me long to get a long length. And I really hope y'all vote super long, but if y'all vote like to my thigh, that's gonna be cute too. I just think the longer, the better. But we'll see if we're on the same wavelength, because usually we are. Okay, so I'm back with one more update. I did the stitches needed for a extra small, which is insane, but this is how wide it is. If anything, it's too wide, but I think once I get the stitch going, it's gonna fit perfectly. So I am going to keep going, following the pattern for an extra small. I think it'll be good enough. It's just gonna fit a little bit big, maybe a little bit small. I don't know, but I like how it looks, so I'm gonna keep moving with the extra small. One thing I'm noticing right off the bat is that this pattern, or this stitch, whatever you wanna call it, it uses so much yarn. So I'm very curious how many balls of yarn I'm gonna end up using to complete this pattern. And I guess if you've seen the thumbnail, you know how long I've actually made this cardigan. Currently, I have no clue. But if you were to guess, how many balls of yarn do you think this completed pattern used? And I'll tell you that at the end of this video. I'm gonna try my best to remember because that's something I usually don't remember. I would really be interested in knowing if it's like 15, which seems extreme to me, but who knows? But leave your guess below in the comment section and then comment back and let me know if you were right or if you were wrong.
Okay, so by this point, I had already reached out to y'all through my community tab and I had my marching orders, and y'all definitely said to make the cardigan go to my thighs. So what I was doing here was I was starting at my thigh and basically just trying to make sure the back panel went up to my armpits, and at that point, I was gonna start working on the sleeves. Here I am a few days later, trying it on again. I've officially reached my armpits. I think I just had one more row I needed to do to be able to start the sleeves. So I'm back quite a few days later with an update on my cardigan. Here's where I'm at so far. And I know this looks quite confusing, but this is the right side of the cardigan. And you can kind of see the waffle stitch. What I did in order is that I did the back panel. I think that might be where I left off, and it's at the length that I wanted. Everybody did vote to the knees, so I'm hoping that's actually where it falls, but we'll see when I try it on. And then I did the sleeves. I think I did my sleeves about 20 stitches shorter, because if you look at the picture of MJ's cardigan, hers are a little bit bunchy, and I kind of want mine to be a bit shorter. Not like short sleeves, but just to go right to my wrist. It's kind of hard to explain. I just don't want them very long. After that, I did the front panel, one front panel, and you just kind of continue with that yarn and just finish it all the way down. I finished that at lunch today. And then toward the end of lunch, I just started working on the other panel. So what I have left is this panel over here. And then after I finish all that, I think I need to seam up the sides, but let me fold it so it looks more like a cardigan. But the really cool thing about this is that it's all one piece, which I love. I don't know, I'm a little nervous about trying it on, but let me fold it up to show you more like the finished product will be. Okay, so here's a better picture. All I did was I just folded it over in half. So I put that front panel on top of the back panel. So the front panel is on the right side, the back panel is on the wrong side. I think it looks really, really good. I cannot wait to finish the other front panel and seam up the sides and kind of try it on. But yeah, I think it's looking very, very promising and I cannot wait, and I love the color I chose. Another thing I will say is that this is like a yarn guzzler. I have used so many balls of yarn. I did get more yarn, 8 more balls of yarn from Lion Brand, which may have been overkill, but the more I think about it, I'm like, maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll see how many, like I said, I'll end up using at the end. Make sure you leave your guess in the comments below. This definitely uses a lot of yarn, and I didn't think I was gonna use so much because I am using a much thicker yarn. So if I actually use the weight that MJ suggested, I'm wondering how many balls I need, which is said in the pattern. I think it was like 10 or 12 or something. She has it in the Ravelry description. We will see how this turns out, but so far I am loving it, and I'll keep you updated. So it's the next day and I'm officially done with the base of the cardigan. So right now, this is the wrong side. I'm just gonna fold over these front 2 panels and half the sleeve over to the back, on top of the back side, and then seam up this side and seam up this side. And then what I need to do is add the ribbing on each sleeve, on the bottom, and around the collar. Let me get started on that and I'll keep you updated. Okay everyone, I'm officially done with the cardigan and here it is.
cardigan. So really quickly, I wanna go over all the modifications I did. I completed this cardigan for, I believe, a size small, but I did say earlier in the video, and I used a bit thicker yarn than what she suggested in her pattern. I completed everything for the most part the same. I did the back panel, and then when my first modification was for the sleeves, I did about 20 stitches less than what she said for the sleeves because I didn't want them to go all the way to my wrist, but I didn't want them to be short sleeves or mid sleeves. I kind of wanted them to go right here. They come exactly where I want them to go. And then I did the front panel and everything pretty much the same. The only thing to keep in mind is that when you skip stitches, since I made my sleeves smaller, I kept the front panel the same width as if I hadn't kept the sleeves or made the sleeves smaller. So my neck panel is a little bit narrower than her actual pattern. But I like that because I didn't want it to be too drapey. It's the perfect amount of drape for me. It's not too bad, not too much, not too little. The other modification I did is on the wrist and on the bottom of the sweater. Instead of doing any kind of crochet ribbing, I did my favorite type, which is just natural 1x1 knit ribbing. And then the last modification I did was along the collar. Personally, I don't have a knitting needle long enough to pick up all the stitches to do ribbing, and I really didn't want that look because I didn't want it to be too bunchy around the neckline. I just did a simple slip stitch around the neckline just to give it some type of structure and make it look a little bit cleaner. I wanted to have a clean edge, but I didn't want it to be bunchy. And this came out perfectly. The only thing I will say is that I know that the comments or the survey that I did said it should go to the knees, and mine definitely, no. The survey said it should go to the thighs, and I definitely did mine to my knees, which was completely unintentional. I don't know if I just did it to the length I wanted to or what, but I do love how the length was. Let me do a quick 360. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole cardigan. You will definitely be seeing this again. I love how it looks. I haven't washed it or anything like that, so I know it's gonna get even more draperier once I steam it or wash it or something like that. But for now, I really enjoy how it looks, and I love all the ways I'm gonna be able to style this because this is such a neutral color. But that's it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you like this cardigan as much as I do. I would love to keep making cardigans, but if you want to see some other cardigans I made, you can check out these videos over here, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any videos. See you next time. Bye.